sometimes controversial, always politically incorrect, and pro-life without exception, without compromise, and without apology. It's the Pro-Life America podcast with your hosts, Sarah Waits and the president of Life Dynamics, Mark Crutcher.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Mark Crutcher, as you heard, and I'm joined by my usual co-host, Sarah Waits.
Hello, everyone.
And we have our sometimes visitor, Sheila, my daughter,
visitor,
joining us today. She's got some things she wants to get into the conversation. You know, it's been a real quiet day in the abortion business over the last couple of weeks. Nothing's been going on.
What's your definition of quiet?
Right. You know, I've been saying, as y'all know, for 25 years, that the closer we got to winning, the more violent our opposition would become. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing that play out right now every day.
Yeah.
I mean, you have these people openly calling for violence. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that's happening here is something that we've all been aware of, but maybe hadn't thought about, and that is the scriptural component here. These people, when you look at the reaction that they've had, it hasn't been, oh, we're upset that we lost a case in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
We've done that before. We lost Roe, we lost Casey, we've lost several others.
Yeah.
But we didn't become violent like what they're doing. You didn't see pro-lifers on television with their faces beat red and screaming at the top of their lungs, calling people names and threatening people and starting to burn things down and to get involved in all sorts of shenanigans around the country.
Well, unless I'm mistaken, even with the other Supreme Court decisions that came out this week, you didn't see the uproar like this decision on Roe.
No, you didn't.
Well, they're not just violent. These people are just bizarre, and they're making fools out of themselves. And I think it's a good thing because the world can see what the so-called pro-choice position looks like.
What we've always known.
Yeah.
The rest of the world is seeing what the pro-life movement has always known. And of course, we have a whole website, and you're updating the website right now.
Yeah, we're going to have a new version of the website that I'm hoping to have done relatively quickly so we can launch it.
People of Choice.
Yes, it's peopleofchoice.com.
If you want to see what kind of people we're going up against, that's a perfect website. Because this is stuff the media doesn't cover.
Yeah, and we're adding an entirely new category to the website, which is called violence, which we didn't have on there previously. I'm not sure why.
But, you know, we have United States senators, United States Congress people advocating violence.
In fact, we've got a couple of clips here. The first one, now this was in 2020 or 2019 with Chuck Schumer on the very Supreme Court steps, threatening Gorsuch and Kavanaugh.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
Yeah, that was him threatening them over abortion. If you outlaw abortion, you won't know what hit you.
Yeah.
That's a United States senator. And then we've got a clip from Maxine Waters.
Y'all go ahead and play that. Now, this was just from a few days ago, again, right outside the Supreme Court.
You see this turnout here? You ain't seen nothing yet. Women are going to control their bodies no matter how they try and stop us. The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them. Women will be in control of their bodies. And if they think black women are intimidated or afraid, they got another thought coming. Black women will be out in droves. We will be out by the thousands. We will be out by the millions. We're going to make sure we fight for the right to control our own bodies.
So here you have someone from the House side, a sitting United States congressman.
Say to hell with the Supreme Court.
Saying to hell with the Supreme Court. At no time during the years that we had all these reversals and setbacks in the Supreme Court did I ever hear a pro-life congressman say, to hell with the Supreme Court.
Can you imagine the reaction from the media and the left if they had?
We're seeing this everywhere. We're seeing it even on local levels. You've got politicians right here in Denton, Texas.
They passed an ordinance, and it was a really narrow deal. It was 4-3, but they passed a resolution making investigating abortion a low priority for the Denton police. But they're not the first city in Texas to do this. Apparently, the person who was behind this movement, Akara Sheehan, she actually got in Austin what is called Grace Act to go before them and get passed, which does the same thing.
Well, I mean, you have attorney generals and other politicians locally, including in Dallas, that are saying that they are going to ignore the state pro-life laws on abortion.
84 district attorneys and other prosecutors from about 29 states came together and signed a letter, and it says that they're not going to enforce their state's laws.
There's going to be a lot of nuances to the battle that we haven't seen in the past because it's taken out of the Supreme Court, now put in the hands of the people. That's going to change everything. But a lot of these attorney generals or district attorneys may find out that they're bragging about something they can't carry out.
Yeah.
There may be state laws, for example, in the case of this degenerate in Dallas, that's the district attorney there. He may find out that there's a state law that says that holds him up for impeachment.
I hope so.
It should be.
But I mean, at the same time, you have on a federal level, the Attorney General Merrick Garland, he released a statement saying that they're going to do whatever they can to ignore the Supreme Court ruling.
It's not just him. Even Biden has said that he's going to do whatever he can within his power and the federal government's power to, quote, quote, protect women in those states where abortion is being made illegal.
Nancy Pelosi and other Democrats are calling for the elimination of the filibuster just so that they could do legislation to codify abortion rights. They're going to try everything they can.
Well, you can expect that.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the things I think of when I see these people just going totally berserk, literally, I mean, to the point, like I said earlier, where you're having people on national television getting in front of a camera and screaming at the top of their lungs, and their faces beat red and their eyes flashing, and you know that person doesn't walk down the street looking like that on a normal basis.
Well, you don't know that.
Well, I don't know that, but
They might.
I keep thinking, and you and I had this conversation yesterday a little bit, and we somewhat disagree on some nuances of this, but I think there is a spiritual component here.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the Bible tells us we don't fight against flesh, we fight against powers and principalities. And I look at what's happening here, and I see these people and see the way they're responding. And it just seems demonic to me. It seems like these people are demonically possessed.
I think
Well, I don't think it's an actual literal possession.
It's not like casting demons into this pig and running him off a cliff or anything. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying it's a different version of demonic possession or an evolution of demonic possession.
Well, it does have a spiritual component, but it's also a psychological component too. How many of these people have had at least one abortion and not multiple abortions?
Yeah, I think.
And so they're psychologically damaged.
Because for those people, of course, abortion is a very touchy issue because people make it very personal. But when you have a personal connection to abortion, you internalize all that. So when you hear somebody say abortion is murder, that person is hearing you're a murderer, or
You're calling me a murderer.
or your mother is a murderer, or your friend is a murderer, despite the fact that that's not necessarily what they're saying. And you can't have rational, calm discussions with somebody who's internalizing that and making it so incredibly personal.
I've told you guys before, this was before either one of you were even born. We did a deal in Dallas where we went out onto the street. And what we did was we appeared to be pollsters or whatever. And people would walk by, and we had a series of pictures there from the Nazi Holocaust, and we had them on the table, and we'd say, we're going to turn these pictures over, and we want to get your reaction to these photographs.
Yeah.
And we turn these pictures over, and they'd say, oh, that's horrible. How can one person do that to another person? If I lived in that country, I would have said something. I would have stood up.
And you're like, hold that thought.
Yeah, hold that thought for a minute. And, you know, the normal responses you get to that sort of thing. Then we said, okay, we have a second set of pictures we want to show you. And we laid out, I think it was 5 or 6 pictures we had gotten from Dallas. They came from an abortion clinic where people had gotten the material out of the dumpsters and photographed it. Well, what is this? Well, these are pictures of abortions that were done right here in Dallas. And you'd have a lot of people that would say, oh, that's awful, or I don't want to see that, I'm leaving, or you know, my reaction to that is terrible. But a lot of them, people that were just talking with us as normal people, instantly became aggressive, became threatening. I see that same look on these people on television. And one thing we knew for sure when we did that experiment in Dallas, we even confronted a couple of these people over this. Among the people who just instantly switched gears and went into that hyper-aggressive, threatening, I mean, physically threatening. It could have led to that if we didn't tap it down a little bit. Went into that attitude. We knew for a fact every single one of those people had some personal experience with abortion.
Yeah.
If it was a woman, they've had abortions. If it was a man, he's paid for them. If it was a parent, they've taken their daughter for one. Once they have that personal connection, like Sheila was talking about a minute ago, all their perspective changes. And I think then that makes them susceptible to Satan taking these people over.
I think people are the most reactive to the things that they know to be true, but they don't want to believe. And when it's that personal and you know that you've done something that's wrong, you're going to get that reactive about it because you don't want to see anything that challenges its rationalizations that what you did was right.
It's called cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
The longer that abortion has been legal, the more people you're going to see that have had abortions, and the worse the problem is going to get. And the kind of violence that they're calling for the Supreme Court and pro-lifers in general is just horrific.
Yeah.
Like Jane's Revenge and all these groups.
Speaking about Jane's Revenge and these groups, we've seen at least 5 more pregnancy resource centers attacked and vandalized.
Just in the last few days.
Just since the Roe decision.
You want to know something that I found out? These groups are using online what is called the Crisis Pregnancy Center map. This map was created by 2 university professors at the University of Georgia to help find locations of pregnancy resource centers. The 2 professors stated that the purpose of this map was to provide location information about all of the crisis pregnancy centers operating in the U.S. The website that hosts this map refers to these centers as fake women's health centers.
Yeah.
And so these groups are using this map to help initiate violence.
And who is the people that are suffering the most from their deal is women. Women who are coming to these clinics, who are getting ultrasounds, they're getting formula, they're getting
baby diapers, car seats,
you
all
name
kinds
it.
of things.
Well, they don't care about women. I mean, for instance, CEOs of major corporations are, saying that they're going to provide abortion benefits and pay for traveling expenses.
Offering up to $4,000 to pay for your travel and for your abortion and all this nonsense.
They're not doing it because they care about these women. They're doing it because they want them to stay working.
These companies are doing this for financial gain for the company. It has nothing to do with that employee.
If that employee gets an abortion, there goes the maternity leave. You don't have to worry about that.
Right.
You don't have to worry about them in the future taking more time off for their children.
And what's funny,
they can work
And you don't
longer
have to worry
hours.
about your health care having to pay $15,000 for the delivery of the baby and then put the baby on the health care, the company's health care.
It's ridiculous. These corporations are like Dick's Sporting Goods, Target, Starbucks, Disney.
There's over 60 of them now.
There's a ton.
Yeah. The thing that boggles my mind, you mentioned Disney. Disney and Johnson & Johnson are a couple from the list who not only specialize in children, but they also market to families. And it boggles my mind why companies like that jump on the abortion bandwagon, kind of like Toys R Us did. It's like you benefit from more children. That is your economic bread and butter.
Well, I saw
why
yours.
in the world are you advocating for less children in the world?
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson would be a perfect example. But one that always bugged me was Oshkosh Bagosh. Now, this is a company that sells high-end baby clothes.
I mean, it's
right?
$50 for like a foot of denim here.
Right. The prices of their stuff is outrageous.
Yeah.
And they give a lot of that money to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
Well, if Planned Parenthood succeeds, you don't have a business. They're wiping out your business.
Yeah.
The stupidity of it is mind-boggling. But if you were to interview all these raging pro-aborts, these people that are on television with the beet red faces screaming at the camera, if you were to interview them and say, hey, okay, settle down. Let me just ask you a question about something that doesn't have to do with abortion. What do you think about capitalism in general?
Yeah.
These are hardcore Marxist for the most part.
They're against, big major corporations, and they want these big corporations to be dissolved and go down with them and stuff. And all of a sudden, they love these corporations now because they're, providing for them.
Well, ask them what they think about all these programs like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. These programs only make sense if you have a higher number of younger, healthier people paying into the program than the older, unhealthy people who are taking out of the program.
That's why they're all going broke.
And they're going broke because our population does not have that.
Right.
And abortion plays a huge role in that.
Did you see the thing in, I think Japan's now, their replacement rate is down to 1.2 or 1.25, something like that. And 2.1 is what it takes just to maintain population.
Yeah.
And even here in the United States, we've discussed this before, we've lost population over the last 50 years if you take out immigration.
Yeah.
We're not replacing our own, and the economic consequences of that can be devastating.
These people just don't care about life. I mean, they don't care about women. For example, you have the Anarchist Collective who shared instructions online how to make your own DIY abortion pills.
Do it yourself.
I mean, they have to know that this isn't safe, but yet
Do they care?
No, they don't care.
They don't care.
It was never about women's safety because if it was, the pro-choice movement and the feminist movement would have been outraged by how many women have been killed by legalized abortion.
Or rape and
Or
murder
raped.
because they won't have them.
Exactly. And the feminist movement is deathly silent about it. It's not about women. It's about an agenda. And you talk about a spiritual deal and why the left is so upset about this issue over other things. And I think reason for that is abortion underpins so many of their other issues.
Every other thing they do.
And it ties in with the eugenics ideals that they've been pushing. It ties in with environmentalism because you literally have environmentalists saying we need to have less children because of CO2 emissions and
Carbon footprints.
carbon footprints. I mean, you go down the list, it has everything to do with every single policy. And if they lose this, they lose momentum on so many other things, and they know it.
And they know that. That's exactly right.
People were basically calling Susan Sarandon's head to be put on a stake.
Why?
And they were blaming her because she didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. They're
Hold
even
on.
turning on themselves.
Does she have some sort of super vote that I don't know about that counts for like 20,000 votes?
No,
How
but-
does her one vote determine all of this?
But this is the type of thinking that these people do. I don't
bizarre
have
logic.
Yeah, and also people were turning and calling out Ruth Bader Ginsburg because she didn't retire.
Well, see, that to me has more of
But-
a logical stand. If you're pro-choice, yeah, I could absolutely see why they'd be so upset with Ruth Bader Ginsburg because her refusing to retire until the right person could appoint her replacement in her mind
And she overplayed it.
is exactly what got another conservative justice on the
But
Supreme
these
Court.
people will turn on each other in a dime.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they don't use logic either.
Halsey was doing a concert in Arizona, and she's an artist. I know you don't know who Halsey is,
No, I
but
don't
she's
know who
she's a
Halsey
popular
is.
artist, and she took time out from the concert to talk about the reversal of Roe. And a sizable amount of the audience was so fed up with that they started to leave. It was enough people that she added in her deal, if you don't like it, you can go home right now. I don't care. If you don't like it, I don't know why you came to a Halsey concert. Well, they're probably asking themselves
Same
that
question.
question as they were leaving.
Why they paid to go to one.
Well, this is another example. So Tiffany and Company created this silver diamond crown, like the crown of thorns, for this musical artist named Kendrick Lamar. So at the end of the final song of his Glastonbury set, which is a music festival, he wore this crown with fake blood streaming down his face. And he chanted, "They judge you, they judge Christ, Godspeed for women's rights." And I mean, people there accepted it. But then you have Tiffany and Company bragging that they were the ones that created this crown of thorns. And you had a lot of people blasting Tiffany and Company because of it. These people don't have any morals. There are signs at protest marches saying that if God could kill his son, why can't I?
Wow. I'd be
Yeah.
careful making those arguments.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in God or not.
I saw somebody, I think I told y'all about it, this has been a couple of years ago. at a Walmart here in Denton and wearing a T-shirt that said, "When Jesus comes back, we'll kill him again." And I thought, boy, you better know what you're doing if you're going to be wearing that shirt.
These people openly also will say that they are witches and, openly say that they worship demons and stuff. So the same group that put a hex on Kavanaugh when he was being appointed, on Instagram the other day, they said that they were putting a hex on the Supreme Court and they were against the Christo-fascist extremists. So these people will openly say that they're doing hexes and all this.
Well, we're out of time, but the point I'm trying to make here, and you're kind of solidifying it, they understand what this battle's about. I'm afraid that so many of our people don't understand.
Well, I mean...
Yeah. Well, and on that point, I want to mention one thing. We've seen so many pro-lifers who are talking about this decision. Yes, it was the right decision. There's no constitutional right to abortion. The Supreme Court overstepped in 1973. So yes, that needed to be taken away. However, what this decision did was it kicked it back to the states. And as we're seeing, this battle is not over. This is not the, okay, we're done.
No, we're a long way from that.
We're a long way from that. And the thing I think that pro-lifers need to remember is as long as the personhood of the unborn is not recognized, the door is always open for legalized abortion. Even on the federal level, this deal of codifying Roe is going to be something that they're going to keep trying to do over and over again until they manage to get it. And until we have the personhood of the unborn recognized,
we're susceptible
this is it.
to that.
And we have to
have legalized abortion.
And we have to remember that these people, they worship abortion.
That's been written about many, many times. Jenny Paris wrote a book about it, The Sacrament of Abortion, many years ago. And she agreed that they were worshiping the right to abortion. Anyway, until next Thursday, remember, Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight.
We're here to win.
Because winning is how the killing stops. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.